Hello, and thanks for joining me on this video about screen time. In part 1 of the video, we'll be talking about how we can reduce screen time. And in part 2, I'll be inviting someone to explain to us why we need to reduce screen time. Now more than ever, screen time usage is on an all-time high. Not only do we have to deal with TVs for entertainment and pleasure, we have iPads, we have phones which have become like they do so much. Not only for, for phone calls and text messages, but we can watch stream shows on it, we can be entertained on our phones. There's so much that we do on these devices, and now add to that online learning, which has become almost the new normal because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we are spending a lot of time on our screens, and it does have its detrimental effects. Studies say that the average home spends about 7 to 10 hours on the screen, which cannot be very good. Why? It's been linked to all sorts of issues like maybe obesity, antisocial behavior, even mental illness. Also, it affects your creativity and more. But here, I want to just talk about how can we reduce this screen time. Maybe you have a child who you're seeing is always reaching for your phone, always reaching for his tab, always wants to watch TV 24/7. And when you tell him no more TV, they throw a tantrum, they go crazy, they go into a fit, screaming and shouting. At that point, you have a problem that you need to deal with. So how can we realistically deal with screen time? First of all, we have to acknowledge that why do we allow our children watch so much TV or use these devices? Many of us, we use it as a way to babysit, to keep them occupied. So the first thing you need to do is think, what can be my child's alternative to this screen time? What are the other things they can do to use their time in a better way? Many of us are happy that schools have even opened because we're like, finally, less TV. But apart from that, when they're at home under your care, when they're not going to school or doing online learning, how can you keep them away from the screen? Here are some of my practical tips that I hope they help you. Number 1, like I always say, they watch you more than they even listen to you. What is your own relationship with your screen? Yes, we're adults and we can do as we please, but we also need to be responsible because they are watching us. How often are we on our screen? What are we doing? Do we have no time where we are not attached to our phone, constantly gazing? Do we wake up and jump straight into our day and grab our phone? Is our phone the last thing at night that we talk to? Because we do have relationships with our devices, many of us do. Do we wake up at night to stream things on Facebook, on whatever, social media platform? What are you doing with your phone as a parent? Your children are watching you. Trust me, actions speak louder than words. We all need to be very mindful of our own relationship with our devices, as this will help model right behavior for our children. It's not easy, but it's doable, and we all need to try. The second thing you need to do is to encourage outdoor play. Nowadays, children spend so much time indoors. When they're outdoors, they don't need their devices. They are playing with their bodies, they are exercising, they are climbing trees, they are kicking balls, they are interacting, and their devices are not important at that point in time. So encourage your children to take time to play outdoors. Also, the kind of things that they can even play with in the home, board games. Play board games with your children. Just recently I discovered, playing this common game called X and O, or I think it's called Knots and Circles or whatever it's called, with my son. My sister had taught him the game and he loves it. So you can play such games with your child. Get them pieces of paper. How much is a ream of paper after all? Get them crayons, get them glitter glue, get them all sorts of paint and allow them to express their creativity. Don't throw out old cartons. Give it to them. Give them safe scissors and allow them to do things, make shapes. In that way, you're also helping their fine motor skills, and you're helping them also use their brains and become more creative. Another thing I failed to mention about staying outdoors is that staying outdoors helps your endorphins. It makes you happier. It makes you more joyful. So you do need to make sure your children are spending adequate time outdoors. Another thing about games and devices in general is that they make our children very antisocial. Who has noticed that at times nowadays you walk into a room and everybody's on their device? People are not communicating and they don't even know what to do around other people. So what you can do is to encourage your child. For the older children, explain to them why you're limiting their screen time. Tell them why it's so important. Tell them how it's antisocial to always be on their phone or on their device or always watching TV. Sometimes they even multitask. They're watching TV, they're streaming on social media, and they're playing with their tab. It is so unhealthy. Explain to them why they need to stop it, and maybe they will see reason with you. Another thing you can do to limit their time is not to do it in a drastic manner. Now, most doctors and medical people would say limit it to like 2 hours a day. But if you've been doing like 10 hours a day, to just cut it to 2 hours might seem a bit drastic. Try reducing the screen time in small amounts. You can say, okay, instead of 10 hours, let it be 5 hours a day. And like I said, if they're older, if they're old enough to understand, try to explain to them why you're reducing their screen time. Even for the younger ones, take time to explain to them why it's not important. Also, one way of helping them with their screen time is ensuring that there are no devices in their bedrooms. It's very common to see children have not only TVs, but their phones and everything with them in their bedroom. Their bedrooms are for rest and relaxation. Their bedrooms are for doing other things, maybe even doing homework or reading a book, but not for their TV. Resist the urge to put TVs in your children's bed. Let the TVs be in a general area, and even their devices. Maybe they should charge their devices outside their bedroom in a common area where everybody can see it. Another thing you need to do is to also use apps to help you control the way your children use devices. I discovered one which has been very helpful for me. I think it's called, I've forgotten the name of the app. I remember the name. Use apps to help reduce screen time. One app I've found very helpful is Family Link, which I link to my children's phones. So it helps me monitor what they do online, and it helps me have a cutoff time and a start time for when they use their phones. That way I can say you're only going to use your phone for 2 hours today or whatever it is. Like I said, I try to explain to them why I'm reducing their screen time, how it's going to help them be more productive, be more innovative, spend more time on their books, and distract them less. Because the truth is that our screens are very distracting. Just think about it. When you have an assignment at work and you're constantly fiddling with your phone, how much do you get done? But the moment you decide to put your phone down and face that assignment squarely, you see that you're able to achieve a lot in no time. So the distractions of screen time are really more than enough reason for us to say, you know what, we need to deal with this. So what other tips do I have for reducing your child's screen time? Spend time with your children. Spend time discussing with them. Spend time having, meetings with them and just discussing life. When you come back from work, actually engage with them. When you're talking to your child, they will not be on their phone. They'll be talking to you. So spend time communicating the old-fashioned way. We might say, yes, in these times, it's an IT-driven world. Yes, I agree. But we still need to have the normal interpersonal skills by talking to one another. Another way to reduce screen time is by making sure when you're having family lunch and dinners and things like that, there is a no phone rule. The more time you eat together, the more time you spend putting your phones down and actually engaging with each other as individuals. You think about it. When last did you go a day without your phone? It's actually something that you should do once in a while. Put your phone down, go for a walk, and enjoy yourself without having something interrupting your day. And also, when your phone rings, you don't always have to pick it up. You actually have a choice. Something I do is that I put off my alerts. So my text messages and all the, the Facebook and all those things, all the alerts, I want them muted. So I can make a choice of when I am checking my Facebook. So I could say, okay, you know what? Facebook time is from what time to what time. I'm not going to spend the whole day looking at alerts. It's very, very distracting. Even for us adults. So you can imagine what children are dealing with so much stimulation during the day from screens. So we need to help our children. We might say, oh, these things are educational. It's an educational show or whatever it is. Yes, but they do not need to watch it all the time. We need to tell ourselves, look, screen time is not for babysitting. Screen time is not for just helping our children stay occupied. Find gameful things to help them do. With my daughter, I realized that when she got a phone, she spent less time with creativity, less time writing stories, less time building things with paper. So I had to limit her screen time. And I'm sure we can all limit our children's screen time and our screen time as well, because we need to have more time to do very productive things. Our screens are meant to help us. Our devices are meant to help us and make our lives better, not become distractive tools. that make us just not become reasonable human beings anymore. So let's use these tools to our advantage. Let them not control us, let us control them. Thank you. As always, like or subscribe. And in part 2, I will invite Dr. Megha on to speak more on why we do really need to limit screen time. Thank you very much.